for us to support the newest Flash player would require a new Intel SDK, which we're working on with Intel to support, but we don't have a date for it right now. That answer also applies to stuff like Netflix in the UK. We'd really love to, and I saw many users asking about it, we'd really want to support Netflix for our UK users. It would require us to implement the new SDK from Intel and work with Intel to make it happen, and hopefully we'll be able to get it done sooner rather than later.
In the latest release, there were some issues with open subtitles. When will that be fixed?
Wait, what is technical issues?
When will open subtitles be fixed?
So in 1.5, users reported issues with subtitle support. Actually, if you go to our forum, there's a beta version there that fixes that issue, as well as a bunch of other issues that we discovered with the 1.5 release. So right now people can get it on the forum. We're soliciting feedback, and if we get good enough feedback, we'll just make it as an update for the box.
Okay. Our favorite, when will Hulu and Amazon be available?
When will Hulu Plus and Amazon be available? So Hulu Plus, as you know, we've been public on saying that we're working with them to make it happen. Unfortunately, it takes longer than I think both parties want. The issue and the reason it takes a lot of time is that there's a lot of moving parts and third parties that are involved in making an application like Hulu Plus available on Boxee. I hope we're making good progress there. As soon as we can make it happen, we'll do. We're Hulu Plus users ourselves, Amazon Prime users, so we have as much motivation as you guys to get it on Boxee. Hopefully we can make both available soon.
Okay. We saw your post about the cable industry trying to scramble basic service. What's the likelihood of something like that getting passed?
So the question is about the latest request of the cable companies to encrypt QAM, which what it would mean is that if you use Boxee Live TV today, you can use it in two ways. Either you connect an antenna to it, or you can actually connect it to the cable that comes out of the wall that comes from your cable company. So if you pay for basic cable or if you pay for premium cable, you can get the basic channels on that cable. What the cable industry is asking the FCC is to close that option for consumers, to shut it down. And we went to the FCC and met with the chairman and told him why we think it doesn't make sense, that it hurts consumers, not just people using the Boxee box, but anybody that has a TV with a tuner and relies on it. I don't know about the chances of it getting passed. I think we made good arguments. The FCC charter is to protect consumers and to encourage competition and innovation. We think on all fronts this rulemaking doesn't make sense, so we're hopeful that they'll give serious consideration to our case, but we don't know what they'll decide to do. We're hopeful because we believe they have their heart in the right place.
Would you also mention that they can reach out on the blog post?
Yes, by the way, the best way for you to support us with this FCC issue is to actually make yourself heard. So if you go to our blog post at the bottom, there's a link to public knowledge and a form that you can fill and send your objections to the FCC. That's probably the most effective thing that we could do. And we had hundreds of users do it already, and the more the better. They need to hear consumers saying that this is going to hurt them.
Moving to live TV, when do you think live TV will come to Europe?
So when live TV is going to come to Europe, so as you know, right now it's available only in the US and Canada. The reason that we didn't launch it also in Europe is that US and Canada use a different standard, ATSC, versus DVB-T, which is the European standard. And we started with implementing an ATSC tuner. So we'd like to bring it to Europe sometime in the future. Right now we're still focused on US and Canada, but we think the opportunity in Europe is huge. The DTT market in Europe is much more developed than it is in the US, and the cable industry is less developed, so probably there's a great opportunity there. It's just that we need to pace ourselves.
And what about DVR?
DVR, this is something that as early as making the announcement, I think that was the most common question on the blog comments and on the forum. When are we going to support DVR? And what we told users is that we'll get the live TV product out, we'll see how are people using it, and whether DVR still remains a big feature request from those users. What we're seeing, the product is out only for a couple of weeks, but definitely DVR remains top of mind for many users. So we're now doing the work to look at the different ways we can implement DVR on Boxee and what kind of support we want to do for DVR. And we'll probably look to do it, hopefully this year, support some form of recordings or another, and make it great. So this is something that you should expect from us in the future.
And are there any plans to help cut the physical cable as well with support for network tuners like HD Home Run?
So the question was about supporting network tuners such as HD Home Run. So HD Home Run today, which is it's a great product. I have one at home. There's support for it on Boxee, but it's very basic. You can play files that the files that it generates, but it's very clunky. We'd love to work with HD Home Run to make it easier, but the focus of Boxee itself as a company would be to make Boxee Live TV a better experience, enhance it with additional features. And if a company like HD Home Run or others want to create apps for the Boxee box that will better support their product, we'd love to support it.
Any insight on the platforms you would like to take Boxee to, since the Intel Digital Home Group has kind of changed their path?
That was a question about what additional platforms we're going to support with the Boxee box software, since the Intel chipset that is currently being used is not going to be part of the future of the Intel Digital Home Group. So we've actually run Boxee in the past on an ARM-based design. The two natural candidates are ARM and MIPS platforms, which for us we're kind of agnostic about the two. I guess we will look for a solution that is powerful in terms of its ability to play video and create a smooth UI and price performance. So hopefully getting to a price point that is much more aggressive with the next system on chip that we run on.
Okay, going back to kind of live TV, are there any plans to have a Freeview dongle for the UK?
So the question is about Freeview dongle support in the UK, and I guess if we want to be serious about the UK, it's not just DVB-T, it's DVB-T2 that would support HD, which is what Freeview is based on. Again, right now the focus is US and Canada with ATSC. I guess DVB-T would be the second priority, and DVB-T2 would probably be the third.
We heard last year about a Blinkbox app, and obviously we'd love to have Love Film on the Boxee box in the UK. Where do those two apps stand?
The question about Blinkbox and Love Film in the UK, those are two premium video apps that are very popular in the UK, and we have a team in Boxee that works with content partners. In some cases, it's not as easy to bring a content partner on board, especially when they have very specific DRM requirements. But we hope that we can make it happen. We don't have dates for any of those services, though.
Okay. Will a Harmony remote work with Boxee?
Will a Harmony remote work with Boxee? Boxee is using RF as a remote, so it's a proprietary remote implementation. The reason that we've done RF is we wanted to support a full QWERTY keyboard on the remote control, and to do it with IR is a miserable experience. You can have third-party remote controls. There is an API that Boxee exports, so in theory, any universal remote will be able to control Boxee, but not over RF, but rather probably over Wi-Fi would make more sense.
Where can I download the latest version of the PC software, and why did you pull it from your website?
So where can you download the latest version of the PC software, and why did we pull it from the website? So we pulled it from the website because we are no longer supporting the PC and Mac and Ubuntu versions. Obviously they're out there. I don't know, I guess Google is your friend. If you search for the desktop client, you'll find it. We took it down because A, we're not supporting it anymore, and second, we didn't want to confuse users that are coming to our site. The focus right now is the Boxee box, Boxee Live TV, what we're doing on the iPad. Those are the things we want users to focus on, and we're moving on. You know, the PC, Mac, Ubuntu clients are open source. Users, developers can pick them up, tweak them, release them. Users are also welcome to go to solutions like XBMC, which we believe is a great option for you on a computer, and we'd encourage users to do so.
Would you consider other connectivity besides Samba?
Would we consider other connectivity besides Samba? Actually, today we support much more than Samba, which in Boxee you can find under Windows file sharing SMB. We support AFP and NFS and UPnP. If you ask me. Specifically, I guess home screens, screensavers. We want to provide a little bit more flexibility for the user to see what or to have stuff on his home screen. Probably not full customization. Screensavers. We're frankly getting tired a little bit of the current screensaver, so we'd like to bring something fresh there. Maybe it has. Maybe that new thing should be something that the user has more control over, but we haven't decided. If anybody has ideas on what would be a better use of the screensaver rather than those Boxee logos jumping around, we'll be happy to hear them.
Is there any chance of Skype and a webcam coming to Boxee?
Question about supporting Skype and a webcam. We haven't done anything official on that front. I think Skype on the TV is the use case that makes perfect sense. The challenge is more of a hardware challenge. Where do you put the camera, and whether that microphone picks up the noise that is coming from around the room and around the TV, because the distance is much greater than a regular microphone. But companies that are making TVs and are making webcams are solving that issue. So we think it's that would be a very cool app, something people will actually use. I can see like real people using it in real ways with their families. It's not a gimmick.
Have you considered adding a backlight to the remote?
Adding a backlight to the remote. Anybody that tried to type, search something or type something on Boxee in the dark with their remote, you probably have to pull out your iPhone and use it as a flashlight in order to see the keys. That's very frustrating. That could be solved either with a backlit remote or with a different type of print that would glow in the dark. But for our next generation remote, we'll look to solve it. That was an oversight and a stupid mistake. Don't watch TV in the dark.
Where can I find more information about Boxee's APIs or developer materials?
Where can you find more information about Boxee APIs or developer materials? So on our site, there is a section for developers where you can see how the different ways in which you can develop for Boxee. We encourage developers now to build HTML5 apps, because those could be used on Boxee, on Google TV, on other browsers. So we think that's a pretty future-proof decision to make. You can also contact us, and we have people that are working with developers and can help you if you come across any issues. But it's on our site.
Okay. You want to just make a quick mention? We're pulling stuff directly from the Ustream questions, so if you have anything, ask.
Yeah, sorry. So we're also monitoring the Ustream chat. So if you want to ask any questions, you can do it on Twitter, or you can do it on the Ustream chat. We're picking those up.
Okay. Why is there no single on-off switch on the Boxee remote?
Why is there no single on-off switch on the Boxee remote? We try to be very hard with ourselves on how many buttons we put on the remote. Reduce the number of buttons. You can turn off Boxee by opening the menu and choosing shutdown. So you can turn it off this way. We thought if you can do it from the software in a way that is pretty accessible, it's kind of a waste to put a button to turn it off. I think if anything, you can make the case for having a button that's going to shut down the TV, because now to shut down the TV, you have to pick up the TV remote to close it down, and that we cannot do from software. But even I think as we're looking and thinking about our next generation remote, I don't think that's a button that's going to win our support.
What about an auto playlist feature for videos?
A question about auto playlists for videos. We think that actually makes a lot of sense. Maybe not necessarily building custom playlists, but finding ways to make it easier for the user to have more of a smooth transition between watching one video to the next. Even today, if you go to the Friends section of Boxee or Watch Later, you have to select each video individually, and we think we can streamline it and make it more of a passive experience, which I think is something that we'll try to do with future updates to our software, just making the TV more of a passive experience than an interactive experience.
Will there be a Facebook app in the future?
Will there be a Facebook app in the future? Not if it's anything to do with us. We don't think it makes much sense to have a Facebook app on the TV. If you want to poke somebody or write a status message, we think you're much better off doing it on your phone or laptop or tablet than doing it on the TV. The TV is a social device. In many cases, you do it with other friends. What we did with Facebook, and we think makes sense in the context of TV, is being able to see videos that your friends on Facebook shared, or being able to publish stuff that you're currently watching to Facebook. But having a full-blown Facebook app, we think that we would put that one under a gimmick that's good for like a press release or for a demo at a trade show, but nothing that users would really use. If Facebook wants to develop 10-foot app, or developers want to create stuff, they should go for it, but we would not do it on our own. We don't believe in it.
Will there be any Boxee apps for Android coming soon?
Boxee apps for Android. So we are looking for Android developers. So if you're an Android developer, or you have a friend that is an Android developer, or a family member, or a child that is going to come of age and you can teach him Android, we're looking for Android developers because we want to support Android, and we want to have definitely a remote control app. But as we've done for the iPad, we think there's a lot that could be done on that screen, and we believe a lot in putting some of the more heavy lifting user experience stuff on the second screen, Android being a very important part of that plan.
What about the idea of building Boxee on top of the Android OS?
The idea of building Boxee on top of Android OS, today Google TVs, obviously is built on Android, but it's not built on the latest ice cream sandwich. I think if Android are gonna make Android TV, so an alternative for us, today we're using Linux. We can use the Android code base instead. Could be relevant if they make the necessary adjustments for TV, both in terms of browser and applications. And, there's a whole slew of issues that you need to solve when you're running on a TV versus a phone or a tablet. If they'll make it, that could be an interesting platform for us to consider versus just pure Linux.
Are there any plans to improve the local file music experience on Boxee?
The question is about local file music playback experience, which is not great on Boxee today. We know it. We're probably not going to invest in making it better because we think that listening to music from online services is something that our users are doing much more right now than local. So if you look, Pandora is the most popular app. The second app is Spotify. And then you have services like Mog or Grooveshark that are doing really well. And we think that we're better off supporting those apps really well and focusing on video rather than focusing on local music playback. We know it's not great. Probably it's not going to get great anytime soon until we get other things to work much better in Boxee.
We had a question about the HBO Go app. I don't know if you know this, but he says there are issues with it. Is it us or HBO?
The question about HBO Go app, whether the issues are with us or with HBO. So HBO Go app is running using the Boxee browser. It's an HTML app. We had some complaints on users using certain service providers. You have to put in your ID of the service provider you're using, and those are not working consistently. So some work better than others. I'm not sure the user that is asking. So it's somewhere, the fault falls somewhere between us and HBO. So we'll try to address it. We like HBO.
Will you improve the speed of picture viewing on the Boxee box?
Will we improve the speed of picture viewing on the Boxee box? Probably not on the current system on chip.
Okay. We're coming to the end, so let's say probably have time for one more question. I would encourage people who have very technical questions to email support.
If you have very technical questions, please contact support. Either you can do it on our forum, you can send by email, you can reach out to Boxee Help on Twitter, and they'll be able to give you detailed answers. Also, if you're even more technical or involved, then go into jira.boxee.tv where we keep track of bugs and have discussions with users about issues. You can go there as well.
Okay. What's the status of the audio bugs in Boxee, and when do you expect to have them fixed?
What's the status of the audio bugs in Boxee? So there's two things. One, with the latest release, some people are reporting crackling sounds when they navigate the menu. Those have been resolved with the version that is on the forum right now. There is a much bigger issue, which is certain users have HD audio dropouts when they're connecting to a surround system. And those would require, again, a new SDK from Intel. So I know there's a bunch of these that depend on a new Intel SDK. Once we have that out, that issue would be resolved. So if and when we release it, the HD audio issue will be resolved.
Okay. So we'll let you go and just let people know that Nick and I will be in the chat room still answering questions.
Okay, so I'm
Stick around.
So I think our time is done, so I'm going to go, but Nick and Andrew are still going to be on the chat room answering questions, and if I hope you find it useful. If you did, then we'll try and do it more often than once every 4 years.
I think this is the second time.
Second, one every 2 years.
So, all right.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good.